All right, so here I have some propane setup, um, some 20-pound tanks, and 1 pound tanks. This one right here is a refillable 1 pound tank. These other ones are one-time use only. Um, so I'm gonna talk a little about refilling them and what your options are, because most of the stuff that you use, you don't necessarily want to connect the 20-pound tank to everything. Lots of times you want to only connect the 1 pound tank versus the 20-pound tank. Maybe like if you had a little lantern or something, you're gonna, a lantern that you're gonna move around and such, or a smaller stove. You want to use these 1 pound versus a 20 pound, right? So these things, you get a pair of these at like Walmart, for example, or Home Depot, for about $6 or $7 for a pack of two, uh, and that's a pound each, versus if you're getting and that's obviously a tank and it's filled with a pound of propane, versus getting a 20-pound tank. Um, let's say you buy a 20-pound tank, and I think it's like, how much is it, like maybe maybe about $70 or so with it filled. If you get an empty tank, empty 20-pound tank, it's about maybe about $50 or so, like at Home Depot or maybe Walmart or something like that. I haven't checked the prices, you know, lately, but it's somewhere in that ballpark range. About $50 for a empty one, I think, or $40 maybe. And you probably get online for even less. You probably get online for like maybe as low as $30 maybe. But anyways, but usually when it's filled up, it's about I think about $70 or so. If you do like an exchange, like if you bring in an empty one and you exchange it for a full one, they charge you. Shoot, I forgot how much they charge you. Was it like $30? Maybe a full one was $50, and an exchange is $30, something like that. I forget the numbers, but I don't do that. That's why I don't pay attention to those prices. But there's whatever options. But anyways, what the best cost option wise, lowest cost option wise, is to buy your own tank and have it filled up at the gas station. Propane, cost of propane, it's about the same cost as gasoline, per gallon, approximately. Give or take a little bit. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but it's approximately around the same amount. So a 20-pound tank, for example, a 20-pound tank, if I can remember right, it has about 4.5 gallons, somewhere around there. So 4.5 gallons. If gas is say $3 a gallon, that's like $15 to fill up one of these tanks. So that's your cheapest bet. And if you're using these things, you don't want to buy, because a pack of two is like what, $7 or something like that. That's only 2 pounds. It's better to get one of these big ones, fill it up, and use this big one to fill up your small ones. But you don't want to fill up these portable, disposable ones, one-time use. That's why you want to get a reusable one. And a reusable one, empty one, is $10 for a reusable empty one. So those are the, I think that's the best economic choice, probably the most convenient choice as well. I mean, it's pretty convenient to bring in an empty tank to like Walmart and get a full tank, but Walmart charges a premium for that. I think they charge like double what it costs at say a gas station, for example, or almost double. So it's better to get your tanks filled up at a gas station. So before I get started on anything, let's go over some safety stuff. So these tanks here, these 20-pound tanks, they have a shelf life to them. It's 12 years basically from the date of manufacture. Then they have to basically be retested, and the testing is probably costs more than the actual tank itself, probably when you buy it, or about the same. But a way to there's a loophole to that. If your tank does pass its date, what you do is that officially the places that refill it, like at the gas station, officially they're not supposed to refill it if it passes the date. But what you could do is take that empty tank and get it replaced at Walmart or Home Depot or wherever, And when you get that new tank should be up to date. And the company that takes the old tank away, they will retest it and redate it. So let's look at that. Let's look at the test date. So right here, you on the tank here, it says must be requalified. That's a testing within 12 years of manufacturing date. So this tank was manufactured on September 13. So that's and today is what? Today is February 2000. So I still have another what is it? 3, 4, 5 years. Another 5 years left on this tank. So this tank is good. This tank, on the other hand, was made in April of '99. So this tank is basically expired already. So this tank is how many years expired now? That's 12 years. So that's like 8 years expired, 9 years expired. So this tank is expired, but it still has fuel in it. So once I finish using this tank up, I will basically take it in and exchange it at Walmart or Home Depot or wherever for another tank that has a current date on it. But for now, I want to basically use this up because it still has fuel in it, still has propane in it. And that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna be filling this up. So before I get started filling anything up here, let me talk about the disposable tank. So this tank right here, if you look at it, compare these two tanks here, you see this one's is like kind of is kind of bulbous, right? Because this is back before I knew that. Before this is a long time ago. Both these tanks are actually pretty old. This one's empty, of course, but this is a long time ago when I first got these disposable propane tanks. I never used disposable propane tanks before. I didn't know that they were disposable, So I actually refilled this thing, and when I refilled it, I got this little adapter. So this side plugs into their 20-pound tank. Then this side plugs on right here. So what you do is you screw this onto the 20-pound tank first. Then you screw this on here because if you screw this on first, there's no valve on here. So if you screw this on, it will open up and it will just shoot out. If there's any propane left, it'll just shoot out. So that's why you have to screw this onto the big tank first. Then you screw this on here. Then from there, the 20-pound tank has to be flipped upside down because propane when it's in the canister and pressurized, it's liquid. So it has to be flipped upside down. Then you open the big tank, and the big tank will fill up the empty tank, the small tank. So the mistake I made was, that was one, that you're not supposed to reuse these things like that because these things weren't meant for that. They weren't designed for that compared to the reusable tank. The reusable tank are actually made to be refilled. So they're basically sturdier. They're a little bit, the wall thickness on them is thicker. So they're designed to be used multiple times, versus these ones are only supposed to be used once. And you throw them out. It's kind of like plastic water bottles. Those are disposable bottles versus a reusable water bottle. I mean, you can reuse this plastic water bottle a few times, but you can only do it so many times before the plastic bottle just breaks apart because it's too flimsy, right? Same thing with these things; they're too flimsy to be reusing. So that was the first mistake I made because I didn't know any better. Ignorance right there. Second mistake I made was that I was I saw this on the internet, and that's why you shouldn't believe anything on the internet. Always take everything with a grain of salt. That people always say, oh yeah, put the 1-pound tank in the freezer to let it cold, because what happens is on the big tank it's full, so it's pressurized. The small tank is empty, so there's no hardly any pressure. So when you're filling, this is thermodynamics. When you have something that's pressurized and you're filling something that's not pressurized, and when it's not pressurized and it gets pressurized, it heats up, and when it heats up, the pressure increases as well. So it's possible that it doesn't get full. These things hold 16.4 ounces basically. So let's just call it 16 ounces. 1 pound. So this thing holds 1 pound, and when it's warm, if the tank's been on a hot day or it's warm, it might not fill up to 16 pounds, and then it'll stop because the pressure in here will equalize, it'll equalize with the big tank, and even though it's not full, it's still pressurized. So to circumvent that, you freeze this thing so that way it starts out really cold. So when you do fill it up and it gets heated up, it doesn't get as hot. So that way it could be filled up more. But the problem with that is that it tends to overfill. So that's what happened here. I froze this, and I basically because I froze this, it got overfilled. When it was overfilled, it was fine. It looked just like this. But that was at the time when I did it. Everything was still pretty cold. Then over the course of a week or so, and I put this away. I put it. I stored these tanks inside the barbecue grill cabinet. Then when I like a week or so later, maybe more than a week later, I went grabbed it to use it. Then when I looked at it, I'm like, oh, what the hell? It almost blew up. I was like, what the hell? So I started using it to empty it out to reduce the pressure, and basically just recently I finally finished using it up because I don't use these very often. I did this years ago, So this thing been sitting around for several years now, probably 5 years now, I guess. So I don't use propane very often. So anyways, so now that this thing's empty, this is gonna go into the recycling bin. So I'm not gonna use that anymore. So don't do that. So this is what a full bottle should look like. Even doesn't matter if it's hot or not. It doesn't expand like this. This expansion basically, it's kind of when it gets too hot and the pressure builds up, these tanks are made so that way they can expand a little bit for safety reasons. That's why this one didn't blow up, because of that safety factor built in. The safety factor is that these tanks are supposed to be only filled 80% full when it's filled up. Remember, when it's filled up and pressurized, it's in liquid form. So that's 80% liquid. The other 20% is the gas. It's where it's in the gas form. So this one definitely got over 80%. That's why it ended up like this. So that's a no-no. So that's where the refillable tanks come in. They're a little bit stronger, but even though they're refillable, it doesn't mean you could go over that 1 pound. You still have to be within that 1 pound mark. Okay. So that's all the safety stuff with this. Let's see. So again, this was what I originally got. This is okay. More recently, just last couple weeks or so, I bought this thing because this one emptied out this past week or so. So I bought this one because I wanted to do refill. I mean, I still have this one. This one's still new. So I'm gonna use up this one. Then after that, these two will be tossed out, and this one will be the one that I will keep on using, refilling. But anyways, so this tank right here on Amazon, it's about $10 or $11, refillable tank. And this is also just like these other tanks. They have that date, the manufacturing date. Let's see, it's probably on here somewhere. There's a manufacturing date as well. Let's see, I don't see it down here somewhere. It might be under this little label here. Anyways, these things are also good for 10 or 12 years or whatever it is as well. So you can buy this by itself for like $10 or $11, but when I was looking at these things, I saw that they had this combination where you give a stand for placing the propane tank on and this fancy valve here. This is a very nice valve. Everything's all metal and brass and stuff. So it's very nice. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, let me get this. So this combo here was $30. And the stand just makes it a little bit more easy as far as you reaching down where the valve is to open up the valve for the big tank, because the big tank is going to be upside down, right? So yeah, so you could use this, and it's a lot faster. You can squeeze this, it opens up the valve. Now, I mean, you turn on the tank, the big tank, but it's still closed right here. Then you squeeze this, and it fills the small tank. Then as soon as the small tank fills up, you let go, and it shuts off right away. Versus the big tank, you have to like go in there and turn the thing. By the time you turn that thing close, it's already overfilled, essentially. Okay, so here's that. So I'm gonna do a refill. I'm gonna do a refill on this. I probably will make a second video and do a refill. And when this is empty right now, so I'm gonna actually weigh this before filling and weigh it after filling, and you can see how much it weighs. Actually, let's look at the empty. This one and this one. This one's for sure is pretty much empty. This one I actually used a little bit already, so this one's a little bit mostly full. It's not fully full, but I'm sure that my scale doesn't. There's nothing to grab onto this. So actually, you know what? I could use this cap. Let me use this cap right here. I could use this cap, and you can actually see how much these things weigh. So let's weigh the empty one first. Take this off. Weigh this empty one first. Oh, this one doesn't screw on. Is it a different size? No, it doesn't. Oh, no, wait, it is. Oh, it doesn't screw on. That's interesting. Can't be a different size. Should be the same. Why does it not fit? This one fits. I think the standoff is too far. Yeah, this one doesn't stick out as far. Yeah, it doesn't stick out as far. That's why it couldn't reach. The threads couldn't reach. Let's see if I can squeeze it in there. Nope, threads can't reach. The disposable one, this valve is actually a little bit higher up, so that's why it could reach. Okay, so I can't weigh it then. Okay, never mind. I'll just weigh the replaceable tank, empty versus full, or before filling and after filling. So yes, I'll do that on a second video.